So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much to be with us. This is the last lecture on within the framework of our course, Soft Research and Digital Skills. The research skills they are going to be revealed and are going to be presented after the Christmas break. So we're going to continue our lectures after the Christmas break. I think that we're going to have 3 or 4 more lectures before we end up this pilot phase of this course. And then we will continue with a new course named International Impact Course in Soft Research and Digital Skills that will end up as a face-to-face event in Crete with workshops in various aspects regarding the cultivation of soft skills, but also pedagogies on how to learn and technologies on how to learn. So today's lecture will be about leadership. I selected this topic because I think the moments that we live or the moments that we have experienced in the past have requested, leaders. And as you will see, leadership skills reveals a lot of other soft skills. So before I will start, I would like to ask all of you, and I will appreciate the rest of the students that we have here, to participate with their cameras or without their cameras. I appreciate when the cameras are on. Like, think about one figure that you think that was a leader or he's still a leader, and name me, some of her or his qualifications, or I will say competencies, or, characteristics. I would like to think, a leader should not be someone very famous. I have used examples from sports since, I'm an academic, but my main motivation is not coming from the academia, comes from the sports. So I would like to think a figure that you think that he or she played the role of leader, and then link, what kind of characteristics do these people have. And I'm not going to do it, right. I'm going to wait for 5 minutes, and then I will appreciate of 2 or 3 of you. We can start today's discussion by thinking of a figure in your life that played this role, the role of a leader. Okay? So, hi, Elena. We have started with the questions. She has not connected yet her audio, I think, or now. So I repeat the question before we will start. Think a figure in your life that played the role of a leader, and what kind of characteristic this figure had or still has, and how this person has influenced you. So before I start, I would like to have from you, how do you perceive leadership? And I repeat, you will see movies, interviews from Mourinho, the Portuguese trainer, a very leadership figure in my opinion, and I will explain why, or Sir Ferguson, that he was the general manager of Manchester United. Why, how do they name leaders? And as I said, before I start, we need leaders. We needed leaders. We need leaders right now, and we will need leaders. So when you have someone on your mind, just raise your digital, how can I say, hand, and name. Remy, I was expecting this. Let's give, 2 more minutes to the others, like to go 3:15, local time, and explain me, why do you characterize them as a leaders? It should not be a famous, could be your father, could be your team player in basketball team or in a football team or in a ski team. I don't know what is the most famous sport in Norway or in Israel. I don't know, in basketball probably in Israel, or at least, I have been in Maccabi's, stadium, whenever I'm in Tel Aviv, I'm following Maccabi Tel Aviv basketball games. But I don't know what other sports do you have. Football, we don't want to speak about, because my team Panathinaikos disqualified by an Israeli team in Athens last week in football. We were expecting to beat them easy, but we lost. So, Remy, I will provide the floor to you, then to Eric, and then I will ask the other students that they have the cameras off to check if they are there, or, you know, this counts to your evaluation as well, eh?
So I was in a work situation where I was working with a guy that is responsible for signing off on the papers for electrical installations, and he had such good leadership skills that he improved the work culture and enabled the other project managers and the other electricians in this company to engage more and actually learn more about the field. And in that way, he is a good leader because of how he made the other people in the team react to what we were doing.
Thank you very much, Remy. I will make my comment later on. Thank you very much for your input. Please lower your hand, and then I will give the floor to the other Viking of our group, Eric.
Hello. I found a book really interesting, Turn the Ship Around by David L. Marquet. And he was a captain in the US Navy, where he first commanded a nuclear-powered submarine, which was not so good. And then he came on board the USS Santa Fe, and he transformed the crew using some principles, empowerment, and he were sort of building leaders, and he actually also encouraged mistakes. So this book, I think I posted the front page of it in the chat. It was very interesting to read how he sort of made some mistakes, but also tried to be very clear and effective throughout his communication. So I of course have had the ChatGPT to make a summary of this story, and I can put it in the chat as well. So maybe my message was a bit too long, but I could put some of the key aspects in there, so you can read for yourself. So
thank you very much, Eric, for two things. First of all, for your input, and second, that I can see the impact of artificial intelligence playground, how to use ChatGPT in order to summary, a whole books. And I think that, this is a win-win situation. Thank you. And I'm going to use the chat later on. So any other input, let's say, okay, let's, ask now by myself. This is not a good thing to be not democratic in order to be a leader, but sometimes you should be fair. One of the things that I think a leader should demonstrate is fairness within the team. Okay, so I'm going to ask Charles Maylock. He's a French student, I remember, in Hanya. Charles?
Yes, hello.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So do you have any example of leadership?
Yes, I have an example. Maybe I'm French, so I will talk about Kylian Mbappé.
Mbappé. All right.
Yes, because if he's a French footballer, and he's inspired us with his crucial plays. If we take the example of the last final World Cup, when everyone saw the French team lose during all the match, at the end during all the match he never gives up, and he showed everyone that it was possible to come back if you want to come back, and this is why I think he's a good leader. So yes.
Thank you very much, Charles. Now I'm thinking to play a game, and I would like to look your nationalities and name myself leaders from your countries. Each one of the countries, but I'm still missing one country. I don't remember a leader from this country, but probably I will remind myself during the lecture. Thank you very much, Charles. In order, to start myself as well, I just, try to note down, key wording that you mentioned. So I will say the word enable, the word turn the ship around. I will take a phrase now, and then the word inspire. So I think that all these wordings reflect some of the characteristics of leaders. In my case, and I have 2 examples of leadership in my life. And they are not coming, of course, there are a lot of examples through the bibliography, through the technology, through the phrases that they are using. So I'm going to use one from my personal life. It was a guy in my life when I was a student. I was working at the airport as a dispatcher. So when I was a student, I was responsible for the preparation of the aircraft. So I was working with a guy from a poor family. I'm not coming from a poor family myself, the opposite. But this guy was coming from a poor family. And I remember that during the night shifts, in the terminals, very late in the night, I was discussing with him what you would like to do, and he was telling me, I would like to become an airliner pilot. But in order to go to the States to become an airliner pilot takes a lot of money. But he had the vision, and he was a poor guy, and he was working, for 10 more years. And I remember when I started my PhD, he called me, Kostas, after 10 years, Kostas, I'm in a short list of interview in order to, he went to the States, he borrowed money, he worked in the States, he paid back, the loans that he got. And, after 10 years, 15 years, he's now a captain in Emirates. He was a captain, in airliners. And this shows that a leader also you are leading yourself. First, in order to be a leader of the others, first of all, you should lead yourself. So he saw to me that he had the vision, he had values, because he was a decent, hardworking person with no family backup, and he achieved his dreams. I mean, it's not always this is the case, but this is a good example. And another one that I had, it was a basketball coach that he learned me, through his leadership attitude, help us, to be developed. I think Remy mentioned this. He enabled us to develop, not as a basketball player. Unfortunately, I have never been drafted in NBA. But, sports helped me to develop my characteristics in my professional life. And this is because this guy enabled us to have values, to have targets, to be aware of our weaknesses, to admit our mistakes. This is one of the things that a lot of people suffer, to go in front of the others and say, I was wrong, I'm sorry. This is, some things that also we demand from our politicians. And all these people inspire us, as Charles has mentioned. Could be Mbappe, could be Golden Meir, as I can see, people, in Israel. Could be, I don't know. I still remember a Norwegian very famous football player, but that's not coming onto my mind. It will come. It could be De Gaulle, the politician. It could be anyone. And I have some examples. It could be the Prime Minister. We talk about with Evangelos about New Zealand, but the Prime Minister of New Zealand, it was the first politician that acted during the COVID-19, a female politician, in order, New Zealand to take first, measurements against COVID, because he has a vision. She knew how to she knows how, the know-how, and inspired the whole New Zealand to follow something that at the moment was looked as something extraordinary. She had the vision, She knew what to do and inspired the others. Clement, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I've got just another example.
Thank you.
It's about a French basketball player called Nicolas Batum, and it's the captain of the national team. And I will say him because he's not like a statistic man who like with 25 points per match or something like this, but he just knows how to motivate all the team, how to be important in the big moments. And yeah, I think he's just the perfect player in a team when you want to, like a polyvalent one. And I think he for all our country in basketball, because I play basketball, I think it's a good example of a good captain and a good leader.
So your evaluation will be a 1-1 against me in basketball. If you win me,
Okay.
okay, I mean, you're going to lose, I'm telling you.
Okay.
But, you know, this is a good example. You know, I will continue on this Clemens example, you know, very shortly. So let me share my screen, and whenever you would like to, how can I say, to stop me, stop me. I will stop anyhow a lot of times, because, I mean, this is, can you see my screen? I think you can see, no? So sometimes, you know, I'm very much affected myself with, you know, phrases, and you can see very big leaders, visionaries, people that inspire all the others. I'm going to use your wording. The leaders, as Remy mentioned, enable the others to develop. These are characteristics of leaders. And leaders, as Clement has mentioned, is not always the captains, you know, the players that they score 10 goals or 40 points, but the others that they are doing the work of a coach within the dressing room. The people that, you know, during a hard moment, encourage the others to move ahead. So I will stay, and because we have students here with an expression that Steve Jobs mentioned during, you know, his very famous talk, I think it was in Berkeley or in Stanford. I think it was in Stanford, and said, you know, this visionary and this leader, because he took a company from a garage, an idea with his friend, to become the most, I will say, the #1, you know, technology company in the world. And he was the guy that he was next to him when they started Apple. I don't remember his name. He was the guy that he was building everything, but he was not a leader. He was a very good scientist. You know, on the other hand, Steve Jobs has these communication skills. He had this vision. He had the idea how to combine things, how to motivate people to work and inspire the others. And we have other examples from Steve Jobs when he started Microsoft. But, you know, I would like to keep this, and I think this drives all of us as a leadership, how can I say, phrase and statement. Stay foolish, stay hungry. Stay foolish means stay humble. Learn yourself that we are learning every day. We are learning from our mistakes. We are humble because we don't know anything compared to the available knowledge, and we are hungry in order to learn more, to become better every day. One of the statements that, or one of the exams, I'm not telling you that I'm leader. I definitely am not a leader, and I will, you know, but, you know, I admire leaders. Leaders, you know, inspire me to move on. But, you know, this statement also: stay hungry, be open, listen the others, select cultures that you need and not your culture, and help the others to involve, and speak for the others, and this will help you, and you will see the characteristics. So it was periods before that, you know, we need leadership. We live in this disruptive era. Right now we have digitalization, we have the Green Deal, we have the energy sources, we have wars, we have conflicts. We need leaders in order to drive the things ahead, and driving ahead is not an easy thing. And another challenge is like to select the good leaders. I mean, if we are talking about politicians, and sometimes it's our mistake that we have not selected the good leaders, because we are not thinking of the team, but we are thinking a lot of times of ourselves. And I don't know, I mean, in any sports, at least, you know, from my experience, you need, you know, good leaders in order the team to move on. So crises like COVID-19, like energy crisis, wars in Ukraine, in Armenia, in Middle East, or financial crisis needed exactly these people. And these people is like what Clemens has said somehow, that the leaders are not those ones that they are on top, like, you know, hierarchically, but probably, you know, they are those that help the others to promote, to involve, to professional advance. And you can see this picture from this famous movie. I hope that you have seen it. And you can see, you know, how a teacher has envisioned and motivates his student in order to go ahead. So the word that Charles has mentioned, inspire and lead. This is like what a leader should has as an objective. Inspire and lead the others. And through this development, you can change and you can introduce transformative ideas and to introduce solutions for challenges that we face. So I don't have to answer you why leadership and what are the characteristics of leader. We are going to work together in order to identify them. But look at this. This is the picture of a leader. You know, if you go to the Google, you can see a lonely wolf. A lonely wolf through the snow. And, you know, I would like to ask you, do you think that a leadership is an easy job? No, it is not. First of all, you should have a lot of characteristics. And if I would like to somehow summarize them, I will present you, first of all, you know, some principles that a leader should have. First of all, you should be able to lead yourself, which means that you should have your values, you should have your vision, and at the same time, you should know who are you. Now, a lot of people, they ask, a leader is born or a leader can be made? What is your opinion? What is your opinion, Maha? I will ask you, you know, I'm using my Greek democracy values now. So what do you think? A leader can be made or someone can become a leader? What is your feeling, your instinct?
Actually, leader is a man, like he's born a child, like all of us. So he only have experiences in his life. So like all of us actually, but there is a people don't take the experience so high to so high thoughts. So it's past, but the leaders see it like, wow, I have an idea, I have a new thought, I have a theory, so that he become a leader. But he's born human like all of us.
So you believe that a leader can, I mean, we can improve our leadership skills, you know, let's say.
He has an imagine, so
Speak. You know, this is one of the purposes of this course. I'm practicing my English. You are practicing your English. This is one of the purposes, and we should speak.
That's it. So he take everything, make a story from everything he get in his way. So.
Thank you, Maha. I agree with you that we can improve our leadership skills, you know, continuously. Sometimes in order, you know, because we are saying people like basketball players, like politicians, or, you know, some people that they were leaders, as, you know, the example of Remy. Sometimes in order someone to be established as a leader should have the power, the political power to be ahead and drive people by your position. But, you know, there are other people, you know, the fathers, the mothers, you know, the people that they run families, they are leaders, you know, their family, you know, with their example. So it's characteristics and competencies that we can build, I think. Of course, you know, a lot of people, they are born with a charisma, but, you know, I don't think so that these are the only leaders, you know, or the only figures of example of leadership. Yes, Remy.
Okay.
Maha, please go on. Just a moment, Remy.
First.
You know, Maha, go on.
It's fine. It's fine. You can ask. I actually write my questions and want to ask, but
ask me now.
you go fast.
Please. Use the. I like the Israeli way that, you know, someone speaks and then I have a question. You know, like, I like this.
That's right. Actually, about charismatic, I have a question. So, what if the leader, the charismatic one, is actually the wrong man who has disaster ideas, but no one noticed? So he leads us to wrong way.
Catastrophe. Race, genocides. And this, now we have the role of critical thinking and people that, they follow this man or this person in order to step him down or step her down. But if you have a leader with wrong values somewhere, it's a catastrophe. And in this case, he's not even a leader. I will say, in Greece, we have demagogos. I don't know, probably Evangelos can help me in English.
He's a populist in this
Populist, exactly. That yells the people to follow him, not to get improved, but to get destroyed. And this is a very good example, Maha. A lot of people in this kind of discussions, they ask, I'm sorry for the example, but this is a question. Hitler was considered a leader? No. He destroyed, the Europe. He destroyed, he killed and assassinated, millions of people. And at the same time, he destroyed his country. So this person, did not promote the others in order to advance. He went to the opposite way. It appeared as a leader within his population, but it was not a leader. For me, leader was Indira Gandhi, for example. Or Gandhi, not Indira Gandhi, Gandhi. If I go, it was like, for example, it was Perez, your Rabin. Your politician, Rabin. I don't remember his first name. He was Simon Rabin. For me, I'm not Israeli. But for me, it was a leader because he make a step up. He dared to do something that if the people believed, or some of them they believed, it will be better for the region. I can have, other examples, Charles de Gaulle, or, the first prime minister of Germany after the Germany destroyed. But not, it's the result that shows who was a leader, right? Like to aware and promote the others. Remy?
Yes. So if you circle it back to the question you had, a leader is something that needs to be cultivated, as well as he can have some charisma from where he grew up that helps him. But the leadership skills need to be cultivated to be implemented.
Exactly.
In my opinion.
Thank you, Remy. I agree with you. And Maha made the question, what is the opinion of the rest? How, if a leader generates the wrong results? This was Maha's question. No, Maha, can you please repeat your question? Because I was the only one that I provided my opinion on this one. But what about the others? What about Teresa? Teresa Slankova. Let's see if Teresa is there. Teresa Slankova. What do you think? Okay, Teresa. Michaela? Michaela? Okay, in between, Evangelos, what is your opinion?
Well, there's a lot of debate. It's contradictory in the sense that on the one hand, it appears that specific people may have, a charisma for being a leader. But a charisma in itself, it does not necessarily mean that you will become one. You need to cultivate it, to form it, to shape it, in other words. So there are those people who do not have, let's say, this charisma, the innate charisma, okay, but through hard work and a lot of training, they seem to become great leaders or good leaders. Anyway, I think it depends. And I also have to say one thing, Kostas. I'm not sure about this, but I don't know exactly what a leader is and in what context must we place it nowadays, because there is a lot of talking going on that requires a leader to be something like, somehow to impose things as well. I mean, a good leader would have understanding. Okay, empathy. But in many cases, companies, for example, believe that a leader has to be competitive. Now, to what extent competitiveness connects to empathy? I don't know. I think it's pretty complex for me. All right. For example, there are people who are not very competitive, and yet they may be rejected because they're not strong leaders as they're supposed to be delineated, described, defined. Now, and there are other people who are softer, let's say, who have a different approach to being a leader. These people, I'm not sure they ever enter the system. I'm not sure about this.
Evangelos, in order to be a leader, you should not enter any system. It's then the impact that you have depending on your position. Because as I said, you could be a leader and you can lead your family. Your father, my father, was a leader in my family in all the definitions of a leadership. Or it could be a prime minister, a leader, a good leader. Not all the prime ministers are leaders. But, in this case, they have to impose things sometimes. And our fathers impose things, if you think in our lives sometimes. You should inspire, and, through the inspiration, you can transfer your competition as well. I mean, you can drive the thing through your inspiration. I mean, competition, sometimes is a good one because you drive things and you achieve goals. And the goals can be achieved individually, but also as a part of a team. So sometimes I cannot see, this is my opinion, like, sometimes I think that the leaders, they should be competitive, but in a good way, that you inspire the others and not degrade the others. A leader should enable the others, as Remy has mentioned, so I'm going to use your wording, to follow you, to come with you, to feel, part of the team. So depends, I mean, motivation depends on how are you going to express your competition. In order, a leader is a competitive person that he's doing the job because of the others as well, in order to move all of us faster and, with a more sustainable way. Remy, thank you, Evangelos, for your position. Thank you. Remy?
Yes. Well, to continue this discussion, if we have time, it's what a leader is coming down to actually what the situation need for what type of leader is, because it doesn't mean it has to be one type of leadership.
Exactly.
It's needs to be adjusted to the situation the group of people are and what they want.
Correct.
So,
very correct. One of the things of the leaders, and I'm keeping, your keywords, or according to myself, is adaptation. Exactly what Remy mentioned. You should adapt to the stakeholders that you are going to, or your partners, let's say, not stakeholders, partners that you are going to work on, in order all of you to get professionally developed. Samia, do you have any leader in Western Galilee College, within the university? How can we define leadership within universities?
Okay, I think any teacher can be a leader.
Exactly.
Yeah, college professor or doctor or lecturer is a leader because she or he is the one who inspires others, motivate others. A leader is someone who can be held accountable for his actions or her actions, and motivate others to be involved in affecting a change. So I have an objection to this pictures you're showing, Costas, because this is not how I see myself. I'm a leader. This is how I'm viewed among my colleagues. And one of the challenges, and Elena is here, is that I belong to the minority in Israel, but I'm a leader of a group of majority. Okay, which is it creates somehow a conflict, because I'm like, I'm an art teacher, but I'm a leader. I'm the head of the English unit at the Western Galilee College, and most of the teachers belong to the majority. But it's not based on majority minority. It's based on how you see. Okay, leadership can be granted to somebody who is viewed by the administration as more skilled, as more professional, but the leader himself or herself would have different perspectives as how he or she sees themselves. For example, I see myself not as someone who's leading everybody and everybody's behind and above everybody else. I see myself as collaborating with everybody, thinking together about finding a solution. So I would not, I tell my staff, I had a meeting with my staff last night, and I said, it's not a QA session. I'm not here to provide answers because I don't know all the answers. We have dilemmas because of what's going on now in Israel. We find a solution. We need to adapt. This is your word, Costas and Remy. We have to adapt to the new circumstances. We have to come up with instant solutions, but it's always we. It will never be I. Okay, so I see myself more like a coordinator, and I think if you coordinate actions, if you just disseminate responsibilities, okay, between members of the staff, and then you motivate others to work and contribute, so it's the overall objective. It's a team plan. It's a product that is achieved by everybody, and that's how I see myself. I like it's connecting everybody together to achieve a common goal.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I totally agree with you. But why you disagree with this picture? This picture does not, shows that one person leads, many, but shows that how a vision, because this is the characteristic of a leader should have a vision and values, to affect others. You cannot be a leader by affecting only yourself. You should be a leader even to affect two people, and two people is not the majority. If you check it, within a university, it's exactly what did you say. You can, vision your students. Your students, the number of your students is not the majority in the system of a university, but you are still a leader. So it's a vision, and not in this way. All the prime ministers are the leaders. If this was the case, do you think that all the prime ministers in Israel were leaders?
Of course not. Of course not. So that is an answer to the question in the chat. Okay,
Yeah.
but
I cannot see the chat, so I will appreciate if someone is reading.
Yeah, so it's a different. Okay, so this is not how I saw the picture. Now it becomes clear to me. I see what you mean. It's affecting. It's having coming with your own vision and trying to affect and move things forward with the team. But my first instinct thought on this was like to follow the herd, which is like seeing this in a negative way. Now I get your idea, Costas, and I agree with you.
Yeah. That's why it's nice to discuss, no?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
Elena, the floor is yours. You have raised your hand.
Yeah, I will lower my hand. First of all, I'm sorry I had to switch a few accounts. My daughter was sleeping next to me, so I couldn't speak. Now I can speak. I ran to my office because it's a really fascinating topic, and I wanted to share a few things. First of all, I think I shared with you on LinkedIn, there is a great author who's writing a lot of articles and blog posts about leadership. So I wanted to share, if you can allow me to share a screen.
Just a moment to stop. I have to stop share myself, I think. Let me also.
Because we were discussing the soft skills course and the importance of soft skills and leadership.
You can share your screen, Elena.
So there was this article that created a lot of buzz. Just look at the title. Forget soft skills. You need to be the smartest person in the room. And this was written by Jacob Morgan. He's one of the keynote speakers in leadership. futuristic future of work, and he writes a lot of he actually promotes soft skills all over, and suddenly this article actually sparked a lot of discussion, and like people. So dear Jacob, hope
Oh, I can see I have made love.
yeah, you were there too. So look, the actual article is strong. There are strong opinions here. So like I've seen lots of talk lately about leaders needing soft skills like empathy, self-awareness, and vulnerability. That's absolute garbage. Your emotional quotient doesn't matter. It's all about your IQ. If you want to be a successful leader, you have to be the smartest person in the room. People don't want a leader who makes them feel good with emotional fluff. They want a leader who can make money and is smart enough to make quick, strong decisions. I don't know, just a few.
This is exactly what we have responded, because Maha, where is Maha? I lost Maha. Maha has asked, is a person that, you know, destroys something a leader? No, this is exactly what, you know, this guy is responding. Yeah, leaders should have a good result. In this case, makes money.
Yeah, so the people don't want a leader who makes them feel good with that's what I said. Strong emotional skills like empathy and vulnerability that make you weak and look like a pushover. When people think they can connect to you emotionally and you showcase your weaknesses and struggles, you lose credibility as a leader. And connecting with people and showing emotions slows you down as a leader and takes you away from what really matters, money, blah, blah, blah.
No. Let me now on this to disagree. This is from one direction, you know, and this is the disadvantage. Thank you very much, Elena, for this. And
Yeah,
we will continue. We will continue. We will, but this is a very strong point, and we can.
Just a moment. There are just a few.
Just a moment.
Yeah.
This is a very good point, and this is the weakest point of someone that he would like to be or she would like to be a leader, and that they cannot be a leader because she is afraid or he afraid to show vulnerability. And if you avoid to show this vulnerability, then you don't select the best people to work around you in order to help to go ahead, because a leader selects always better people, I mean, regarding the competencies than him or herself. You are not selecting, you know, lower qualification people, because then you are, what did we say, evangelists like Mussolini and Hitler and the others, you know, you would like to feel nice. But on the other hand, you would like also to encourage the others. And the empathy in this way is an advantage and not disadvantage. You know, you should encourage the others to go ahead.
Patience, hold on. The whole thing.
Because here, you know, it's wrong. It's from one direction.
It's all this whole article is a big flip over. The guy does not
so I found the
single word here. The whole thing is like, this is like a provocative piece, which when I talk about leadership in my workshops, I share this article. I ask the participants to read, usually the students to read and express what they think about it. And you know, when you read all these, some of these things kind of make sense, but the bottom line, this is, when you scroll all the way down, who wrote this thing is an outdated leader, right? Because when you think like the history of like the stereotypes of a leadership, right? This is why leaders are always portrayed as confident, strong, knowledgeable, and not emotional. That's not what works, and it's not what people want, blah, blah, blah. It's really interesting piece. I just sent you in the chat, and it provokes responses like, you, Kostas, you don't wait, you respond immediately. But the thing is that every person needs to think about this piece, because some people also reacted, like they say, okay, I support you, and then some said, okay, this doesn't make sense, so what are you talking about? And yes, this is, you see, stop worrying about soft skills. They're not slowing you, they're only slowing you down. If you want to be a great leader like me, all that matters is that you're the smartest person in the room and everyone knows it. But it's all, if you don't agree with me, it's probably because you have a lower IQ. You see, the whole thing is offensive and really like making fun of the concept, but it just shows that you have to perceive every single word like the opposite, like everything that is written here. The guy believes the opposite, actually, in empathy and support. And I also believe, just to answer one of your first questions, the importance of a leader. The leaders are those who empower people around them. Leaders know how to identify strengths in people who work with them, and to actually ignite this strength and hopefully allow the person to develop beyond the leader himself or herself. So this is I think the most important quality of a leader. And then now I will stop. I shared this article with you all.
I think that we have mentioned all of them until now, because this is exactly what did we say, like that the leaders, I think that the first moment, Remy mentioned this, enable the others to develop. The other one, then Clement mentioned that a basketball player within the national team of France, who is not Parker, who is the big star, it was someone else that helped the team to lead and perform. And in this case, it is like what this document said, that you should not be the smartest in order to be a leader. Probably you are the dumbest. And this, I think that it's like what you should feel, that I'm the dumbest in the group. It's very nice to feel that you are the dumbest, because it's the only way to go ahead. If you think that you are the cleverest, the most clever, you don't have, how are you going to be developed? Exactly. If you are in a team that you are feeling the most stupid one, if, I don't like the wording, but I like, when you are in a team that you say like, now, oh my God, I don't know anything and I'm the stupidest. This is a good feeling. I'm telling you, this is the best feeling. You are going to get developed in this case. Exactly, I was fist by the document. I was ready to say, oh no, this is wrong, this is wrong. And then, they outdated. Yeah. I totally agree. I will use it next time. Thank you, Elena.
Yeah.
Evangelos?
I would like to say something on this. I mean, that I've also studied psychology.
Yeah, Evangelos, I forget, he's psychologist, which is one of the most important disciplines.
Trying to
of
work.
Skills. I think the founders of soft skills were the psychologists. Coleman was a psychologist.
In leadership, all right? I like the way you present things. And this article that
was very good.
showed that this is a fantastic article. Thank you, Elena. I think that it's totally rubbish. It's one-sided. And do you remember what I said earlier? That there are people who would not actually appreciate soft skills. What I meant was something like this, but I didn't explain it, in the right way. So there are people who connect to this, that they believe that just the IQ and, pulling a group, forward, pushing a group forward to move on and to get, good financial results or performance results, whatever, is the right outcome. But the point is this the kind of leadership we want? I agree with you, Kostas, because a leader, as I see it, needs to have all these soft skills, empathy as well, and above all, even, you have to hire people who may have a lot of qualifications, a lot more than you do have at some point, which means if you have, if you see yourself as, I can't put it this way in words, as somebody who doesn't have enough qualifications and you can't cope with that, the end result is you're going to be hiring a lot of people who will not actually perform well and will not cooperate with you in a group. Because I forgot the word. I needed to say this. I might actually say this later. But anyway, I think that a great leader does not rely just on IQ. You need to have EQ, definitely.
EQ, I think this EQ is now the most important.
Work with a lot of people. And you know what? Expressing your weaknesses or showing your weaknesses when these weaknesses arise, well, it only makes you human. And in the eyes of people around you, it actually allows people around you to see that you're not just a machine, but you're also a human being, a person with, sensitive things. So if the other person is not doing very well with himself or herself, then they may see you as a person with weaknesses. If the other person is has an open mind, they will see you as a human being, as a human person with your own weaknesses and your own soft skills. This is how I see things.
And I will keep one thing. I mean, thank you very much, Evangelos, for your position. The human, the word human, because leaders, one of the characteristics of the leaders is like they're building relationships with the others in order to be trustworthy, in order the others to trust them, and also emotionally, you know, also to be driven. You know, one of the things of the leaders is like they have built relationships within their network, within their circle. Otherwise, you cannot communicate with an impact, you know, the others. You need to build relationships. So let me share again my screen and we will move on. So this screen, I think I should share. And let me, okay. So hope my computer will work. Stop share and I will share again. Share. And we were somewhere here and come on, my computer stuck. Let me, okay, now you can see my screen, no?
Yes, we can
That's
see
why
that.
you should, I should use, you know, okay. So you can see my screen?
We can see the whole thing with the notes. So if you wanted to share
No, this one.
live,
This one, no?
now it's good, yeah.
Okay, excellent. So this is like, you know, the thing that been, you know, your vision, your ideas through the qualifications and the competencies that you should evolve in order to improve your leadership. You need to inspire the others. So take this picture, as I discussed with Samia, not, you know, as the minority leads the majority. In this case, then, as I asked, all our prime ministers are leaders, or all the managers are leaders, but this is not the case. So I'm very much inspired of what Remy has mentioned, or not Remy, our French student about basketball. But I will play this video later on. But you know, this is like I have a video from Mourinho, but I will play it later on when I will give you examples of leadership and why I believe that these people, they are leaders, mainly from the sports. So we need the leaders in order to face right now challenges, in order to resolve conflicts, in order people to inspire and innovate solutions that the humanity and the society will overcome them. And in order to apply leadership about not only you need to have competencies, but sometimes you should overcome some challenges within yourself. And the first one is ego. And this ego now is related on what we discussed before, that you should select people around you. A leader should, he or she should be surrounded by people sometimes better than himself or herself regarding competencies, regarding soft skills. This is a healthy environment in order, through ideas and through vision, to motivate these people to work and perform as a team, you know, to go ahead. In academia, particularly in the academia, this ego, after all of us we receive a PhD, we think that we are the smartest people in the world. And now I'm coming back to what Elena presented. This is not the case of leadership. To have the highest IQ, if you have it, because sometimes what's the difference between a stupid and a smart people? You know, the stupid thinks that he's the smartest one, and the smart one thinks that he's the stupidest one, no? And, you know, it is something that we should overcome. And a lot of people, they try to hide their vulnerabilities or their weaknesses, and this kills, you know, their leadership. So you need to have some personal competencies and tools, and we will come later on. I will show you the video later on. So a leader is a prophet. Why is a prophet? Because he has a vision. He knows how the things will come. In science, we used to say that the leaders are those ones, or one of the characteristics of the leaders, that they have the feeling of the things. They know how the things are evolving. For example, I will give you another example again from Steve Jobs. I don't know if you have read his bibliography, that I strongly suggest you to do it. He convinced a guy named Scully, who was the manager in Pepsi-Cola. And he tried, through his vision to take, the manager, the CEO of Pepsi-Cola to come and work, for Apple. That moment was a very small company. But through his vision, through his communication skills, through his know-how, he selected someone to lead his company better than him, because Cooley was like the manager of Pepsi-Cola at that moment, and he convinced him because he had this vision. He worked like a prophet. He worked like a prophet, not only in this, because he was the first one that he introduced multidisciplinary within science. At the moment, it was a lot of companies like IBM that build, better computers than Apple. But, the characteristics of Apple, it was like he took into consideration the design, the box, the ergonomy of the system. This is what made, Apple different, because of the leadership skills of someone that he knew nothing about computers. Someone that he has never finished a university. He has never finished a university, Steve Jobs, but he had the vision. He was a prophet. Another thing that a leader should have is to operate like a pastor, to be humble, to listen to the others, which is very important. Unfortunately, I don't have this. And work with others and be patient, and makes the other to come closer to him and reveal, their ideas, their problems, and etc. This is a person that has the values and also this, how can I say, emotional intelligence, like a pastor. He should be a psychotherapist. You should be calm. Another thing about emotional intelligence is not only the ability to respect and read the emotion of the others, but also to control your emotions. I'm for example, in my case, I'm not even good on this because, I cannot control my emotions. And it's very important to control your emotions and listen to the others and try, through the style of leadership that you're doing, either is like a delegation, either is a coaching, either is like a directing or supporting, to help the others and listen to the others. And the other one is like you are leading a company, you are leading a team. And this means that you are like a party host. I mean, the others, they should feel that they work for a team, they have a nice feelings, they have positive feelings, they come closer to the leader, they speak, they feel free to express their ideas and their suggestions, and this is like to lead a party. And also, you should help the others to develop, like what Samia has mentioned, like what a teacher, a good teacher, a leader figure within the classroom is doing. So these are like, I will say, I can see like the 5 P's. These are the 5 P's of leadership, as an example, as I can, intercept this. A prophet, a pastor, a psychotherapist, a party host, and a pedagogue. So one of the things that we are going to reveal, and we have already discussed, is like when you would like to lead something, it should be clear to the others how, why, and what we should lead, and what is your vision. So this response is, in everything. Now, there is a lot of debate if a manager is a leader or a leader is a manager. As you can see from these transparencies, a manager is not necessarily a leader, or a leader could be a manager. The ideal situation, like a leader, a manager to be a leader, in my opinion. But let's see the difference. The manager administrates things. The leader innovates. A manager is copying good policies or principles, but the leader is an original. Remember what did I say you about Steve Jobs? He innovated the whole computer industry, not from the technical point of view, but from another perspective. He introduced branding into the science. And right now, if you read the articles about how higher education is evolving, one of the key words is multidisciplinary, and this comes to the research as well. The manager maintains. If we have a good path, we're going to maintain this, a good operation, but the leader develops. And this is also a picture of what did I say, because the picture, Samia, that I showed to you before, it was not only one figure that leads, but a figure with a different color, the red color. Because when you develop, also you should be ready to fail. And when you fail, you should be ready to say, excuse me, I failed because of this reason. And that's why the picture, if you can see another picture in the Google with a lonely wolf leading, the group, is like through snow, through difficulties and challenges. So the leader develops. The manager accepts the reality. This is the team. This is what we have. These are the difficulties. A lot of people say, all the time, difficulties, crying all the time. But, the leader investigates, solutions, and be flexible, as you said. It's adaptable. The manager relies on control. This is something that all of us, particularly, and now I'm doing, also psychotherapy of myself, we should overcome. You cannot control everything. You can control only the things that you can control. But the leader should inspire the others, inspires to trust, the leader that he knows what he's doing. He gives the example, because you cannot lead by wording. You should lead by example. You should be trustworthy. I think Samia mentioned this, that you should be accountable on what are you doing. And the manager has a short-range view. In the majority of the cases, the company should go well and will control the team to perform, but the leader should have the vision, as we said. So you can see, using wording, that how you can define and characterize someone as a leader, independent if it's a manager, independent if it is a prime minister. You can check, and this is a very good example. I found it out in Harvard Business Review. What is the difference between a manager and a leader? Also, I will say, and we have here Israelis that, I admire, the way that not everything that they are doing, or how do they perform, but, one of the things that they admire in Israel is like that the decisions are taken not following, hierarchically. I mean, it seems to me, or this is what I have understood, that you are like more consensual, and the hierarchy does not play, this role. In some countries, you can see in Tunisia, China, even in Greece, in the majority of the case, hierarchy takes the decision. And, this is not, part of leadership. When you take a decision, somehow you lead the others, you oblige the others to follow something. I think that you should let the people and the people of the team to express themselves and, suggest, and the leader accepts, treats them, as equal. So I will say, this is my perspective, and I would like to ask you that, I mean, a good leader is someone that gives the exam and is not someone essentially that he is, top ranking. Good leadership can come, from your, how can I say, your calling in the battle. I will give you another example that I have. I have used, I have a lot of friends that they are fighter pilots in Sudan. In Sudan, we have an F-16 pilot base, and a lot of times they are maneuvered with the Israeli Air Force. So I asked them, what are the differences? And they told me, when we fly, the captain gives the order. With them, even, someone is not a captain can lead and can suggest things, and they are very adaptable. So in my opinion, the less the hierarchy, of course, you need the hierarchy somehow. But, the less the hierarchy, probably, the better leadership environment, the more party. Remember, you are a party host. The more opinions and the more suggestions they can come. I don't know what is your opinion on this, but I think that the cultural aspect, and I will ask Samia, because Samia is like, I think is an expert in cultural intelligence, if I remember well, that cultures also plays an important impact on the way or the effectiveness of leadership. In my opinion, I think that, the leadership can come independent of the ranking. And this is what Mourinho has mentioned, or I think Clement has mentioned. It's not always the captain that is the leader. Probably the leader is not the captain. Samia, what do you think about the impact of the culture on how the leadership is expressing or the effectiveness of leadership?
I think context plays a role on how a leader is viewed. I mean, in one culture, you can be a leader as a female. If we talk about a gender, and if you talk about gender, male, female leader, then a female can be perceived more in a positive way in certain cultures, but not in others. As to the Israeli overall culture, I think it's based mainly in democracy, where there is an open speech. Everybody is allowed in. I mean, I'm talking about institutions and academia and university and colleges. So there are open discussions when everybody's voice is heard, and decisions are made collectively by everybody attending meetings. That's how it goes. But I agree with you. It depends on the culture. Like and people have to be adaptable. That's the key word. Even as a leader, I see myself as a leader, as a manager or leader. Somehow I see myself between. Like now, I have to study this whole idea. It's a new idea to me. The difference between manager and a leader. So I have to read more about it. Thank you, Kostas, for bringing it up here in this discussion. But I see like some of the things you said about managers, I see myself as a manager and I see myself as a leader, but I see myself differently in different cultures. So that's the idea. So since I live in mixed cultures, and sometimes I'm in one culture and sometimes I'm in mixed cultures, and sometimes I'm in another culture in different contexts. That's life in Israel, because you have people from different backgrounds, different cultures, different contexts. So a leader is different. In my culture, for example, people expect a leader to make decisions and to be strong, not to share not to share weaknesses, talk more about strength and make quick decisions. In other open cultures, which I am also sometimes part of, you can share your weaknesses, you can consult with others, and it's not viewed as a weakness at all. So it depends on context, and I experience this on a daily basis, Kostas. I mean, I find myself in different cultures.
I think
so I'm a different leader. I'm a different leader in different contexts.
I think, Samia, one of the good aspects of multicultural and what kind of these virtual exchanges can bring, that they bring the discussion of different cultures, is to identify the best way. And myself, the best way is a mixture of, what did you say? You should consult your team before you take the decision. And when you take a decision as a leader, you protect your team. You are taking the blame, but you have already advised your team. I think that, and this shows strength, because you demonstrate the value of democracy, the respect of your team members. That's why you select better people than you in some cases, in order, to secure yourself. You take the blame when the mistake comes. However, you have consulted your team, and this, and of course, you should take decisions sometimes very fast, because the things right now, they are changing very fast. COVID-19. If we do not have leadership figures regarding politics or regarding pharmaceutical companies, that they collaborate all together in order to take decisions, we should take a fast decision. And, a lot of people, they were leaders in this decision, because who knew if the vaccine was effective or not, or how to convince all the people to vaccinate. I think that This is the beauty, and this is came to my mind right now through the discussion that we are doing. How we can combine different aspects and different definition of different cultures in order to shape as an individuals what is the best scenario. I think that the communication this brings.
Can we talk about question? This is Israeli type thing. Question, Kostas.
Question.
Can we talk about global leader, like internationalization of leadership?
But I think exactly what did I mention to you now? An internationalization leader or a global leader, if we can define this. I mean, let's say, the UN, head, I don't know. I mean, this is a very global institution, should respect and should be aware of the different cultural, characteristics of all the people that he's addressing his message. Because his message should not be offended to any cultural, characteristics, but at the same time, everything should go ahead. So a global leader should be definitely aware. He definitely or she definitely be characterized by this cultural intelligence, like respect of different culture, different religion, different nationalities. It's a very hard to be a global leader because you need a strong vision. And how are you going to communicate this vision in order to not offend different cultures? Because you would like to inspire and motivate all these people ahead. I can see I invite you to go over my live worksheet on the topic leadership. Okay, what do you say over this, Elena? Can you summarize us?
This could be like a follow-up activity. I don't think we will have time now in class, but we can take a look at it together. It's like there is
a very place to the students to do it later on, no?
Yeah, the students can do it later on, and there is like a graded activity, so we can also count it into the grade if you need the assessment for this session. So it's a very good assessment exercise.
So what about the others? Samia mentioned something very nice. How do we, I have another question to you. As I mentioned, there are 5 characteristics, 5 P's that I think that also this reflects the global leadership. It is like you should be a prophet, a pastor, a psychologist, a party host, and also a pedagogue. What do you think that you are right now in your life? If I would like to start myself, let's start. The first one is a prophet. Somehow I think I have it on what I'm doing, the prophet characteristic. The other one is, what was that? Pastor. I think that I'm a decent man. But, okay, let's say that I am a pastor. I'm not a psychologist at all because my emotional intelligence is low. Party host, no, because I'm not very much good in emotional intelligence to feel to the others that, I'm an easy person to reach. And the other one, what it was, a pedagogue, somehow. What about you? What you are right now? If you see these 5 P's, what do you think that you should improve in order, to enhance your leadership skills? What are you missing? This is the first thing in order to be, if you would like to be a leader. What are your weaknesses? You have not discussed yourself about your weaknesses.
Yeah? Kostas, when you say that you see, if somebody sees himself or self as a prophet, it somehow entails hierarchy, like you're above everybody else.
No, because I said like you have the instinct. Probably you have the instinct of what are you doing. Not, a prophet from the religion point of view, but, from the vision point of view. A prophet had a vision. This does not make the prophet, above the other.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, I get that.
Yeah. So what do you think about you? Maha, what do you think about? What of the 5 P's you are? Or you are not? Probably you are not. How do you find yourself?
Actually, I don't know, but they told me, people around, that I am a good listener. So
very good. Very good listen. So you are psychologist, if I can, say so.
They told me to learn psychology and be a psychologian. How would I say?
Psychologist?
Right, that's right.
Excellent.
But I feel actually I'm so how they say sympathy, so I can't listen to other people and stay calm and feel nothing. So I just put this idea so far.
Thank you, Maha. What about the others? Ignatiadis, Greeks and Israelis, ancient nations, survived all these years because of the collective leadership. Probably, Panagiotis, probably. We need some leadership, figures.
If you think about it, and I'm sorry not to include the other people from other nations, but if you think about it, then Greeks and Israelis, they have a common, let's say, fortune in history, because is one of the most ancient civilizations. They survived in all of these years because they thought that they are one nation, so they speak one language, they have one history, they have one religion, and also if you try to think about the recent history, Israel is a country of, let's say, 50 years old, is a 50 years old nation, but also Greece is 200 years old nation. So the system wanted us to be small, wanted us to be, let's say, minute, but I think that the people of Israel and the Greek people, they want to resist on this, and we should not underestimate the fact that it was all this collective leadership of the Greek and the Israeli people that brought us where we are now. Especially Israelis, that we know that because of religion, everybody was against them. Orthodox, Muslims. Okay, if you see all of the religions, they were against the Israelis, but they survived.
I mean, Israelis, you mean Jews? No?
Yeah, Jews, yes. So I don't think that this is a matter of one person. Probably in Israel is Abraham or David, but if the nation was not collectively, let's say, inspired, and if they didn't have individual leadership in every single kibbutz or in every single neighborhood, then probably they will not be into the level where we are now. In Greece, we know that we are not in a democracy because we take commands. Probably now in Israel, they also take commands. Okay, in what to do.
Thank you, Panagiotis. Thank you for your input. And let's move on. And I will give you the floor. And here. So we are here. And no, this one. And then I give this one. Okay, so we spoke about the hierarchy. I think that, leadership should serve, the group target, the group goal, in order to focus on excellence. And this should be the two targets, in my opinion, of a leader. So you focus on the group priorities and the group, development, but you should focus on the excellence, how to promote to the positive way. And this comes a little bit, this picture comes back, to the first question that Maha, I think that she asked me about, if, let's say, an example like Hitler was was an example of leadership. And I say, definitely no. These are the things that the majority of the people that they are not leaders are doing. This is a review, again, from the Harvard Business Review Journal, which is an excellent journal if you would like to read more about and soft skills. Is, one of the biggest mistakes, you don't say and you are not appreciating the work of your team members. You know, always, you know, the people that they are not leaders, they say like, I, not us. And never, you know, they say to the people, very good work, thank you. You know, this is one of the first things that you should develop, to appreciate the help and the assistance and the contribution of your team members. As you can see, is the biggest mistake of people that they think, you know, they are not leaders. Not giving clear directions. This is like one of the lack of a good leadership, is actually one of the styles of leadership, you know, to the directive style. You should give directions to the people on how to do the work. Not do the work for them, but on how to do the work. This is also closer to the coaching type of leadership. Not having time to meet with employees. I know that everyone is busy, but you should find time in order to meet not only your employees, but also your boss. It should be a very clear, direct communication with your boss and your team that you lead on what you would like to do, on the performance, on the challenges. So you should invest time. Refusing to talk to subordinates. I think that here, you know, the cultural aspect that the boss is the boss, and you know, I have been, you know, in such cultures, you know, I have been in China that, you know, you cannot talk. You can talk only to the boss. Even if you send an email to someone that is not the boss, they will never respond. You should send the email to the boss. And then, you know, the people, they cannot speak to the boss. And you can see in some companies that, you know, the heads of the company are on the top floor. But, you know, if you would like to build a good, to be a good leader, I think that you should be among your workers, among your partners, among the people that you are working. Taking the credit of the other ideas, this is like frauding, and this is something regarding ethics in science as well. Not offering constructive criticism. You should be open, you should be direct, you should be respectful, but also you should not criticize, but you should evaluate. Not knowing employees' names, this helps a lot in order to know the names of each one of the people. You should know if you are, I mean, if you are directing a team, you should know everyone's name, because this shows respect, this shows care, you are caring of the same, and this gives importance to the other. Refusing to talk to people on the phone, this is relating to the other one, not asking about employees, you know, how do they feel? These are, you know, the biggest mistakes that the people are doing, and they are not leaders. And you can see, you know, the weight. Ego, as we mentioned, is the biggest killer of a leadership, because you think that you know everything. It is my way or the highway. A lot of times, you know, I have done this mistake. No, this is not the case. You should give the floor to the other people to suggest, and then together you are taking a decision, and then the leader takes the blame if the mistake happens, and you should excuse about the mistake. You should not manipulate the others. You should not let the others afraid to tell their opinion and their suggestions, because then you are missing, you know, the potential of your team. As Rami mentioned, a leader leverages, you know, the potential of the team, and all together they are moving ahead. Don't afraid to show weakness, and, you know, be able to collaborate, delegate, and accept your mistakes. You know, this is one of the things that if you are afraid to show your mistakes or accept your mistakes, this kills your leadership, and the others, they don't trust you. You are not accountable, and this creates a problem. So some real life exams of leadership, I took some of them from COVID-19 in my case. I think that this lady, Jacinda Ardern, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, has been recognized from economists as the leadership figure in 2020s because of her fast action under pressure. He communicated with transparency about the vaccination and about the lockdown, not the vaccination, the lockdown of New Zealand. It was the first lockdown that applied in planet, and this has been done by this prime minister. Also, the NBA president, I think that he's still the president, Adam Silver, he realized the challenges and the danger. He communicated with, you know, all the NBA teams and owners, and they decided, you know, also the lockdown and the stop of the NBA the festival and organization. Yes, Samia? Oh,
No, I didn't.
I
No.
thought that someone spoke. So I think that, these people, that they had the vision because they could see, what it will happen. They react fast. They took a decision with the consequences, because these are millions of euros, millions of loss of, let's say, jobs. Even, the personal, how can I say, happiness of the people was challenged. But, this was a difficult decision that these two figures, take as a leadership. The other one was this guy, I don't remember his name, but he has to also to challenge, Donald Trump, that he handled, the situation of COVID in the States, and also this is the Greek figure, that period. So a lot of articles shows, and I'm a fan of this, that's why I present this, that the males, they should take, a lot of lessons from the females, as the leaders. And this is a contradiction, If you go and check, who are leading the biggest companies, they are not females. However, Harvard Business Review has recognized this and said, like, females demonstrate better leadership skills than males. So the 7 lessons that the men can learn from women is like, do not lean it when you got nothing to lean about. So you should, based on a team, a very good performance team, as an example, know your limitations and not say, always yes. Be aware of yourself. Know how much things do you know. This helps you to accept your weaknesses, and through the collaboration with your team, members of the team, to fill the gap, and then all together to go ahead. That's why also you should select people with a talent within your team. Don't select in people that they lead, I repeat this, with actions and not words. Motivate through transformation. This helps your vision, your ideas, your communication, the trust and respect that you show to your team. Put your people ahead of yourself. This is very important. When you communicate, you don't communicate. You communicate, first of all, in order to understand the others, and then expect the others to understand you. Do not command, but emphasize. Be able to emphasize the other one opinion. Just say to yourself, what do they would like to mean in order to understand, and then communicate and lead. Focus on elevating the others and develop the others, and stay humble. This is very important as a good example for the others to respect you, because the others, they will respect you as much as you respect them. Okay? So these are the 7 lessons according to the Harvard Business Review of leadership characteristics that males, they have to learn from women. I gave you, I tried to collect some leadership lessons from sports, and I would like to listen this person. But in order to listen this person, I should share also sound. So share sound. This is a very good example of leadership.
I know this. I'm the most animated coach that you've probably ever seen when my team's playing. I go watch my kids play. I don't say boo. I don't wave my arms. I don't try to coach my kids. With all due respect to most parents out there, I probably know more about basketball than most of them. Okay? But I sit in the stands and I don't say a word. There's 2 guys refereeing a 4th grade game on a Sunday morning. What can they possibly be making? $20 a game? I used to do that. I used to make $12 for 10 and under, 15 for 15 and under, and 17 or 18 bucks for high school age kids. Okay? So on a Sunday morning, instead of being in church, those guys are out there trying to make a couple bucks to pay their bills, feed their families. Do you think they really care what 4th grade team wins? Do you really think that they sat at home and said, I can't wait to officiate that game tomorrow because that one team, I can't wait to get that 10-year-old kid and embarrass him in front of people? Do you really think that's what they're doing? I don't try to tell my kid how they should play. You know what I told my 2 boys when they come ask me, Dad, why are you asking me, man? I didn't run your practice. Go talk to your coach. But don't talk about your coach in front of me, man. Because if you are, then you're not playing basketball. You don't understand why you didn't play better? go talk to your coach. I'm not your coach. I'm your dad. Somebody disrespects you, then I'm here. If you fail, good, deal with it. I'm going to help you get up. But don't come talk to me about coaching. I do this for a living, man. I'm not going to criticize a guy that's trying to help you. And then the other part. So that's the officials. Do you think those coaches coaching fourth grade kids are making any money? So there's someone that's giving of their personal time on a Sunday for free to help others people's children, yet we're going to have the adults in the stands yelling obscenities at the officials, criticizing every decision the coach makes, yelling at the kids like the kids, they're 10 years old, man. Like if they were LeBron James and Dwayne Wade playing in the NBA Finals, like they know how to handle their coach over here and their parent over here yelling at them. Then we wonder why kids get confused, man, why kids rebel, why kids don't know how to listen. How can you listen when you got so many voices in your head at the same time? You know what life teaches you? Shut things off. And that's the part that's frustrating.
So this was an example of respect, of values, how, a parent can lead, his kids by teaching them, the good values and the good attitude by an example, because he's a basketball coach. And you see that he taught his teachers, his kids do not criticize, himself, the coaching skills of their coach. And he gives, a very nice lesson, as a pedagogue, learn, by, the specialist. Learn, if you're going to do a mistake, deal with your mistakes. This is, for me, a great example of a parent, how can be a leading figure. Also, see, another example by another athlete, Van Persie, how does he speaks and how does a leadership figure, in my opinion, can shape, the good attitude and culture of his kid. And his kid, this is not a majority. You can lead, even, someone else on what you should, how you should behave, not, only decisions. And, let's play, this video.
Actually, I had this chat last week, funny enough, seriously, with my son. So my son plays at Feyenoord. He played against Ajax under 14. He was on the bench. He didn't play. So in the car on the way back, he was like a bit moody, disappointed, complaining a little bit about others, about the coach, etc. And then I said, yeah. I said, but Shaquille, I said, you sound like a loser, if you talk like this in a way, you sound like you lost. I said, you are blaming him, you're blaming her, you're blaming this, you're blaming everything. I said, but I don't hear one single thing about yourself. I said, winners, I said, they take control and they blame themselves and they look where they can improve. Yeah. And this is what you should be thinking about. So I didn't tell him what he should think about. You should ask yourself the question, are you a loser or are you a winner? I said, for me, it doesn't matter. I said, because I'm your dad. I said, the only job I have and your mom has is when you're 20, that you're a good boy, that you're ready for life. You can make your mistakes, you can do what you want. I love you for the same amount. It doesn't matter for me if you make it as a football player or not. I said, but you say that this is your passion. So you should take control of your life and stop complaining, because it sounds like a loser. I said, and I don't mind. If you want to be a loser, be a loser. I still love you as much. I said, it doesn't matter for me. I said, but if you want to be a winner, take control of your life and stop complaining about others. And then I watched him train the next morning. My wife said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to watch this session. 2 days later, actually, because they played on Saturday and Monday morning. So I'm there sitting, cold, hoodie on. I'm looking and I see this tiger training, running, working. And I was like, okay. He realized he has to take control of his life. He's 13 now.
You can see, so one of the characteristics of how Van Persie treat his son is like, he cultivated one of the characteristics of future leaders, that you don't blame the others. If we start to blame the others, we are not leaders, because on the critical moment, when the decision is wrong, we are going to show the finger. You never show the finger. I mean, one of the consequences, if you would like to lead the others, is like to take the blame and accept, the mistake, and try also to promote the solution, of the mistake that happens, of course, consulting and respecting the others. Another figure in sports that for me, it was a leader, it was this guy, Sir Alex Ferguson, that he came to Manchester United. Manchester United was just a team, and he transformed the team to a club, to a vision that new talents, through the academia of Manchester United, they collaborated. He exploited the talent of local boys in order, to become what Manchester United is now, more than a club. He had a vision in order to give the chance to young players. He helped the young players to how can I say, to professional developed. He had the priority of the club in order the club to lead by an example, all the football clubs now in the world. He was very strict with the players, even, with Beckham. When Beckham did not follow the pathway, the model of a player, to be humble, then he was out of the team. He took this strong decision as a leader. So this guy transformed the sports as it is now, Sir Alex Ferguson. For me, it was like what it was Steve Jobs for Apple. It was Alex Ferguson. So you start with the foundations. You rebuild, what you would like to do, even though that, this is a hard decision. You are prepared to win, but also prepared to lose. You observe in order to correct. This has to do with the adaptations, and this comes to the 8th point. Let's see, his discussion in Harvard Business School about Manchester. This is a course in leadership at Harvard.
When we teach the Manchester United case, and you've seen that happen several times now, what do you feel are the key learnings?
Everyone that worked at Manchester United knew who Alex Ferguson was. I didn't change. Because I think that when people change their mind all the time or change their philosophies all the time, it can be confusing to the work staff. I've come to Aberdeen, north of Scotland, to manage Manchester United, biggest brand football brand in the world. I'll tell you, I was scared. I had a lot of trepidation about it because this is a massive club. But I said to myself, I am not going to change. I am not going to change. I'm going to do what I believe in. And I wasn't afraid to do that. I think that fears could kill people.
So you can see, two key wordings that he has mentioned. I will never change. This does not mean that he will never adapt. He adapted a lot of times in his challenges, but he had his values, and at the same time he has the vision how a football team can become a symbol through, his attitudes. So I will leave you to watch this video later on by yourself, but this guy transformed the football. He became an industry of talented football players that staffed other teams, following the values of a talent, of a continuation development, and also of, awareness on the status of the team of a club. Another figure, of course, is Mourinho. One of his characteristics is like always you should become better. Always you should aware yourself and criticize yourself and be aggressive to your targets. Grab your chances through the collaboration. You coach a team and not the players. This is very important for a leader. You coach a team, not the players, because if you coach the players, then you are affected and you are vulnerable to, preferences. But you need to be equal and give the chances to everyone in order to develop. So how to build your leadership skills, and with this, I think that I'm going to repeat a little bit myself. You should know yourself. You should be aware of what are you doing. I can see, a lot of people that they are not aware of their capacities. I am telling you, you should feel the stupidest in the room. If you can feel like this, you are in a good point to get developed. If you think that you are doing everything well, you are weak, in my opinion. I like to work with people that they think that the cleverest, the most clever people in the world or in the room, because this gives me the chance, to take the opportunities. You should demonstrate emotional intelligence. You should respect the others, and the authority. I will say it has to do with a decision, team decision, but the responsibility will be one person. You know, the team decision, but the responsibility will take, you know, the person that is responsible for this team. Use yourself as the case. Get on the balcony in order, you know, to see the big view, but not, you know, to lead the team, you know, from the balcony, but see, you know, the big picture. Okay. The teacher, you know, the teacher should be a leader, but this is something that I think that Samia has analyzed it very well. I think the teaching methods that we're going to use in the pedagogies help, you know, to build leadership within the teams, for example, for application of problem-based learning, you know, approaches, you know, this helps. Internationalization, as you can see here, Samia, is an important thing about leadership because, first of all, you develop cultural intelligence. You respect, you develop leadership within yourself because you are moving outside of your comfort zone and you are calling to perform not within the environment that you used to be. So internationalization, in my opinion, is something that we should take into the consideration. So if we would like to review and conclude, self, others, wider world, you know, the great leaders focus on the others, okay? They have, you know, the vision of what is happening, you know, in the wider perspective in order to have the vision, and also to themselves in order to know who they are and what are their values. Self-awareness and self-control. Self-control has to do with emotional intelligence and the empathy to the others. I mean, again, reading the others' emotions, respect, communication, listen the others also is a part of the game. Of course, communication, in order to have an impact of your communication, you should be decent, authentic, as Ferguson mentioned. You should tell the truth with respect. You should help the others to develop and not control everything. Accept and delegate, one of the things that you should do. This is something that we have mentioned. About empathy is another kind of lecture that we are going to have in more details, but empathy is like to manage your emotion, but also to recognize the state of the emotion of the others. This is also related with the other person's perspective. The ability to feel, you know, has to do with empathy that I just mentioned, and build relationships. This is very important to be able as a leader, or, you know, one of the leadership skills, to build relationships that they are based on the trust and on the vision and the motivation, not, you know, on the money or on the funding. So I will say that with this, you know, I think that we can finish, and I have here, you know, some of the reading that I have done in order somehow to understand, you know, leadership, you know, understand and evaluate, you know, myself and the others, take some conclusions. And I think that if you have time, these are, you know, very nice collection of papers and books and review videos that you can find. But when we talk about leadership, you know, in my opinion, you know, I will go back to what did you say here? Enable the others, inspire the others, communicate with the others, trust the others, respect the others, and through collaboration, you can progress ahead. I mean, leadership without progress ahead is not a leadership, in my opinion. Okay, so this is what I would like to discuss for you today about leadership. And if you have more questions, you can ask right now, or we can stop. I will upload the video and the notes for further discussion, and through the questionnaires that I'm going to develop during the break, I think that you can have an overview. Elena, the floor is yours. And also I will upload Elena's, you know, material. Elena will send it to me because after I close, I don't know how to exploit the things.
Sure, of course. I will just share with you briefly. So first of all, there are very nice quotes at the beginning for like a warm-up. The greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He's the one that gets people to do the greatest things. And the key to successful leadership is influence, not authority. like Candice Branchard. And the last one is there is a difference between being a leader and being a boss. Both are based on authority. The boss demands blind obedience. A leader earns authority through understanding and trust. So these are like interesting quotes.
Elena, we started with the guy, stay hungry, stay foolish. We from jobs.
I love that. I also love to teach with his speeches. It's really, really nice. And then you have some subtitles and a very short text about what makes a good manager, a good leader. Like here, it's kind of
a good manager is a good leader.
No, what makes a good manager, and for each statement, you need to pick the right subtitle. So it's like a little exercise for careful reading.
Excellent.
And at the end, you have some questions that will be for my students in my Moodle will be open questions for their final semester assessment on this particular topic. So we will have assessment from soft skills and time management, all the topics that were covered, and the leadership as well. So that you will have to answer the 4 questions. What leadership qualities do you think you have? Do you think that being a manager is a good job? Why and why not? What do you think are the hardest things about being a manager? And what do you think are the differences between a leader and a manager, and are there any? And those of you who listen carefully to this now on YouTube, you will have to go back and find that slide that Kostas presented. So thank you very much. It was really
I think that, Elena, we can include these questions as a questions for this section.
Yes. All of this worksheet is very, very relevant to the to the Moodle. So thank you very much.
So if there are no questions, I think that we should stop here. Let me check the chat. If there are any questions in the chat that I have not responded, I'm pretty sure that Elena and Samia will have mentioned if there are any questions or stuff like this. I can see a comment from Panagiotis. Elena, it is a matter of leaders representing the people that got the mandate from Netanyahu represents now the Israeli. This is a personal, I'm going to answer all of this question myself as a Greek. Looking outside Panagiotis of what is happening in Israel before, the terrorist attacks on the 7th of October, if I remember well. Definitely Netanyahu does not represent the Israeli people, but this is from outside, as a Greek. Because if for the last 6 months, we have demonstrations in Israel every weekend against Netanyahu, definitely Netanyahu does not represent the Israeli people. But this, again, with all respect to the Israeli participants, this is a point of view from the European side, that, this prime minister probably does not represent, Israelis. However, he's the heroic figure of his brother. But this is like now, this could be, nice questions, if we can make next phase, in impact, like when the thing.
Okay, Kostas, but I continue. If you read further, then I ask in the same way.
Okay, let me also tell my opinion as a Greek. Hamas represent the Palestinians? I don't think so. I don't think so that Palestinians, they agree with the slaughter that happens. I don't think so that, I don't think so. So my opinion is that Hamas does not represent the Palestinians. I hope. Abbas represents the Arabs in the Western Bank. My opinion about the Arabs and the Palestinians, sometimes I think that the Arabs are the people that they have not supported Palestinians, or they have not consulted the Palestinians in the right way. I don't know. Abbas means for me, I don't know. It does not look to me, as a leadership figure in the West Bank. It looks to me like a manager, like, administrates things. But this is my opinion. Hezbollah represents Lebanon, definitely. Probably Hezbollah represents, the clerics in Iran, but not, Lebanon.
Question here as well. Does Putin represent Russia? I mean,
what? Putin? No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Like everywhere in the world, it's,
Even, if we go back to history, Elena, and this is not a part of this course, but, since we have started, if you go back to history, history is a very nice subject in order, to try to understand, the right thing. I don't know if a right thing exists. As a physicist, by supporting quantum mechanics, one result does not exist. 100% result does not exist. But even if you think, about, Russians, they say, the Ukrainians, they collaborate with the Nazis in the Second World War. This is the case, yes, this happens. But why Ukrainians, they collaborate with the Nazis? This is a different now point of view, why this happened. So, I mean, are we living in a period of leadership? For sure, we need leaders. Yes, we live in a period that we need leaders. I don't know how easy it is, but we need leaders. Okay, so anything else? I think that this is what we would like to say. I think it's quite late. And I would like to wish you Merry Christmas, Happy New Year for the people that you celebrate this. And stay safe. And I think that we will continue, Elena and Samia, after the 3rd of January, no? I have to check, when is the next. I think that we will start with AI Playground, no? The next one. I don't know if it's for students or not, but definitely I think that we can continue the next one within the framework of the course will be a course, I think that now from Samia. Cultural intelligence, I think that could fit very nice as a next lecture, Samia. Are you ready?
Yes.
Definitely. Okay. So the next lecture will come from Samia, and it will be about cultural intelligence, if I remember well.
Okay, intercultural communication.
Intercultural communication. And then we can analyze a bit about the global leaders. Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Even
Thank
though
you.
that I think that global leaders, like Mandela, he was a global leader, even though that he was fighting, for the rights of the black people in South Africa, he was a global leader because his values and his vision, well, it was about all the people that they are under minorities or under depressed, under, how can I say?
Pressed.
Yes, this one. Gandhi, even though that he fought against the British Empire and colony in India, the way that he fought, this battle, it was for the global. I mean, it was the best way to negotiate. So I think that, we can see, figures beyond internationalization. This is a part of internationalization, I would say.
Luther King.
Yeah, human rights.
Luther King.
Yeah, Luther King. Yeah. Okay, so have a nice night. Enjoy.
Too.
The snow,
Merry
the sun,
Christmas.
whatever.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye
Merry
bye.
Christmas,
Bye bye.
everybody.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.